Discussion and debate. Building an argument. Unit 10. Task A. Read and discuss. Listen to the reading and follow along in your textbook. The reading introduces the topic and some of the key ideas you will need to develop your argument. As you listen, think about your own views on the topic.
While the criminal justice system is composed of equitable laws, ideally interpreted fairly and equally, it is a system that depends on fallible human decision-making and is prone to inconsistencies. In an objectively blind criminal justice system, the ethnic and socioeconomic makeup of a law enforcement agency, a prosecutorial team, or a sitting judge should be of no consequence to the outcome of any given case. Statistics in prosecution and incarceration rates by race and status, however, indicate a less than impartial system. Some 2.5% of all African American males in the United States are in prison, and are also 11.8 times more likely to face imprisonment than their white peers. According to former President Barack Obama, you have young men of color in many communities who are more likely to end up in jail or in the criminal justice system than they are in a good job or in college. Class-related injustice is also prevalent. High-profile celebrities with the wealth, resources, and connections are given much lighter penalties. Actor Felicity Huffman, for instance, charged with mail fraud that carries a maximum sentence of 30 years, was sentenced to 10 months in jail and released in 2 short weeks. While there have been many improvements in the legal system, such as more diversity in police, prosecutors, and judges, there is still much to be done to correct the system's flaws and restore balance in the scales of justice.
Task B. Comprehension check. Consider each question and use information from the reading to develop your response. Think about how these ideas could be used to support either side of the argument. Task C. Vocabulary building. Complete the vocabulary activity. Pay attention to how each word or phrase is used, as you will be encouraged to use this vocabulary when you present your argument. Now check your answers. Task D. Useful idioms. Complete the idiom activity and check the meaning of each expression. Consider whether any of these expressions could be used naturally in your argument. Now check your answers. Then take the vocabulary and idioms quiz. Task E. Discussion language. Study the discussion language and complete the activity. Practice using these expressions to help you structure and communicate your argument clearly. Task F. For and against. Listen to both model arguments and follow along in your textbook. Notice how each speaker states a position, develops reasons, introduces evidence, and uses the language from the unit. Consider which arguments you find most convincing.
A fair legal system is an important goal, but I believe not everyone is equal in the eyes of the law. One reason is that people have different financial resources and access to legal representation. Wealthy defendants can often hire experienced lawyers, while poorer people may struggle to receive the same quality of defense. As a result, legal outcomes are not always equitable, even when the law is written fairly. It is also worth considering that social and economic differences can influence the justice system. Long-term statistical trends show that imprisonment rates have differed among racial and economic groups. For example, in 2017, the imprisonment rate for black males in the United States was almost 6 times that of white males. Although many factors contribute to this difference, the trend suggests equal treatment under the law has not always been achieved. Finally, judges are human and may be influenced by factors unrelated to the evidence. Research has shown that favorable parole decisions gradually declined from about 65% before a break to almost zero immediately before the break, before returning to around 65% afterward. Such discrepancies demonstrate that human judgment is not always consistent, while wealthy individuals who evade responsibility through money or influence further weaken public confidence in the justice system. For these reasons, I believe not everyone is treated equally in the eyes of the law.
Equal treatment under the law is one of the fundamental principles of a democratic society And I believe modern legal systems continue moving closer to that goal. One reason is that the law is designed to protect everyone's rights regardless of wealth, race, or social background. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights states that all people are born free and equal in dignity and rights, and this principle continues to guide legal reform around the world. In addition, long-term statistical trends suggest that many justice systems are becoming more transparent and fairer. In the United States, the imprisonment rate for Black adults has declined by about 29% since 2006, while several states have introduced bail reforms that reduce unnecessary pretrial detention for low-income defendants. These changes demonstrate a continuing effort to create a more egalitarian justice system. Finally, wealthy and famous people are increasingly prosecuted when they flout the law. Public figures such as Mike Tyson, Wesley Snipes, and Martha Stewart have all faced incarceration after conviction for criminal offenses. These cases show that fame and wealth do not place anyone above the law or beyond legal accountability. Although some rulings remain inconsistent, it is unlawful to discriminate against minorities, and continuing reforms are creating a more equitable system in which everyone is increasingly equal before the law.
Task G. Comprehension check. Answer the questions about the model arguments. Identify the speaker's positions and evidence, and practice challenging one of their points. This will help prepare you for the rebuttal task later. Task H. Springboard. Read the quotation and consider how it relates to the topic. Introduce the quote and explain what it demonstrates. Consider whether the quotation could be used to support your own argument. Task I. Exploring evidence. Complete the evidence activity. Each unit introduces a different type of supporting evidence. Consider how this type of evidence can make an argument more convincing and how you could use it in your own argument. Now check your answers. Then take the evidence type quiz. Task J, supporting an argument. Develop a reason for your position and support it using the type of evidence introduced in this unit. This will give you practice connecting a reason with relevant supporting evidence. Task K, gathering data. Study the infographic and identify information that could support either side of the argument. Consider which facts or data would be most useful for supporting your own position. Task L, building an argument. Now bring together what you have learned throughout the unit. Choose whether you are for or against the discussion statement. Use the Building an Argument page to state your position and develop 3 clear reasons, supported with relevant evidence. Use the evidence type introduced in this unit once in your argument, and identify your sources by giving the author or source title and the date. Where appropriate, try to incorporate the discussion language, vocabulary, and idioms you learned in the unit. When you have completed your notes, use them to record your spoken argument and post your recording to the Spoken Argument Forum. Do not simply read your notes, use them to help you explain your argument naturally. Finally, listen to another student's argument. Choose one point they made and record a rebuttal explaining why you disagree. Thank you for your efforts this week. See you in the next lesson.